Welcome to the Love Pod, where inspiration, vision, and real connection come alive. Wherever you are, you belong here. Welcome back to the Love Pod, everyone. I'm Julia.
And I'm Nathaniel.
And it has been over a month since we've had a chance to host an episode together. So we're really excited to be here today, and especially to welcome our special guests on the show who also happen to be friends of ours, Scott and Leora Perry, the husband and wife indie folk duo behind Winsome Kind. And we had the privilege of meeting these lovely souls when we were living out west and visiting Salt Spring Island. A friend we were staying with invited us out to some live music one night. And I remember just sitting there with Nathaniel, and I was mesmerized. We were so deeply touched by their songs, their lyrics, the frequency. And speaking of the song Frequency, I think I actually got emotional during it. And I'm sure Nathaniel too, as we share the same desire to co-create, heaven on Mother Earth together. And we've also leapt into the unknown, including Mexico during such uncertain times, similar to Scott and Leora. So that evening, we just left feeling so uplifted and inspired. And I had so much respect for you, Leora, to perform wearing your little one and nursing her whenever she needed. It just felt so raw and authentic, and it really moved me. And we were sitting next to your eldest, I remember as well, who was chatting up a storm with us, selling your CDs and proudly sharing his parents' music like we were already friends when we had just met that evening. Then the next morning, we saw them again perform at the Salt Spring Island Farmer Market, and we got the chance to, chat a little bit more after you guys performed and even share contact information. And even though it's been a couple years since then, we've stayed in touch, especially during the time of becoming new parents for Nathaniel and I. You guys had so much, beauty and wisdom to share with us in this new chapter of our lives. And every time, I'm sure anyone sees a video or photo of your little ones, they just radiate so much light, love, and joy. And you guys have a big part to do with that. And speaking of little ones, our little one, Luciana, is absolutely in love with your music ever since you sent us the new CDs, especially the Mantra one. Anytime she hears a new track, she'll be like, oh, I like this one. And then she'll start singing the words right away. She memorizes them by heart, and she's not even two yet. And for the one, the song that's I Love My Life, she says, I love my light. And it's so synchronistic because her name means light in Italian. Anyways, your journey, your music, and your values just feel so aligned with what we're about here, building the new earth through love, family, creative expression, and presence. We cannot wait to share your story with our audience. Welcome to the Love Pod.
Best family band ever.
Oh, that's a great introduction.
Wow.
Thank you so much. And what beautiful memories. That was such a special night. And haven't worn the baby for a gig for about a year now, but that was an epic time of baby wearing and singing for sure.
And there'll be opportunities to wear a baby for a gig again.
Yes, more opportunities coming.
That's amazing.
Congratulations to you guys. Yeah, you're expecting your fourth little one now.
Yeah. Who'd have thought? But here we are.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
They're so beautiful and such amazing blessings. It's we're feeling really, really fortunate and
so grateful.
Excited.
Yeah.
How has life been doing the work that you're doing and still being parents to three little ones and growing a new soul inside of you?
It's been full. Life has been very full lately. I think that's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
We put on a lot of miles this past summer. We all drove all the way down to Texas and back to share our music at Confluence. Then we drove to
up to BC as well,
the West Coast and back. And so I think we put on over 12,000 kilometers in the summertime.
Wow.
Holy moly.
And we've been staying a little closer to home since fall. I've also been starting homeopathy school, basically time as well. And we've been doing lots of teaching music and
like putting our, getting out in our community a little more and getting to know people here. Cause we've been living in small town Saskatchewan, basically since we saw you guys on Salt Spring Island. We brought the camper back to Saskatchewan and we were living on the farm for a bit. And then we ended up settling down here in a little small town. And we've got our home studio, recording studio set up here to create and, continue.
We call our new home the Palace after living in a camper for that.
I love that. I would love to take it back even more for our listeners and maybe perhaps for some people who are meeting you for the very first time. Let's go back a little bit into your story of how you two first met, and like, were you already making music before you met, and how did you decide to start doing that together and sharing that passion?
Yeah,
it is a good story.
It's a great story. We were both making music. We were both actually professional actors and musicians at the time. And this was back in 2012. And so I got hired to do a show in Regina, Saskatchewan. It was my first show out of town, and
you grew up in Vancouver.
Because I grew up on the West Coast in Vancouver, right? So got hired to do this show called The Buddy Holly Story at the Globe Theatre in Regina, and just so happened that Leora...
I was living in Victoria at the time, and I got hired to do the same show, but back in Saskatchewan, where my family was from, and as well as it had a reputation for being a good theater to work at, and a fun show.
Yeah.
And so we met actually because we were cast in the same production, and so we were singing old rock and roll music and wearing fun costumes, and it was a wonderful production, and we just clicked. We just had one of those experiences where we just kind of became instant best friends, and we just had such a beautiful connection. And after about 6 weeks of doing this show together, we were like, whoa, we need to make a life together.
That's beautiful. Wow.
Pretty clear that we had been brought together for that reason. I mean, there's a lot more to the story, but that's and then we started, our very first big gig together was we actually got accepted to play music on Via Rail, on the train. From Vancouver all the way to Halifax.
I had some friends at the time that had done a similar thing, and so we applied to do this program where they hire musicians to come on board the train. And then you perform like 3 times a day in different train cars and as you're traveling. And so there we were, like, we left Vancouver and we were, all on our way to Toronto. And I had just recorded a little acoustic EP at the time.
Yeah, we didn't even have a band name yet for an album, but it was so formative. It was such a formative time of just like, here we are singing together.
And in my guitar case on that trip, I had a little engagement ring that I had brought with me. So I didn't know when I was going to pop the question, but I had it in my guitar case. And so I waited all the way until we got to Halifax. And by that point, I think we had come up with the name Winsome Kind, and we wanted to create music together. And then, I asked her if she'd, be mine. And she said yes. And
it was a very special trip.
Yeah, it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
That is so beautiful.
And man, the adventures haven't stopped. We have this running joke that we're like, man, that was a big day. And then we're like, it's actually been a big week. And then we're like, come to think of it, it's been a big month. And then we're like, no, it's actually been a big year.
Yeah,
and then we're like, now we're at net. It's been a big decade, right? It's like
a big life.
It's
this
non-stop adventure.
This beautiful life. But of course, our mantra album, the first track is "I Love My Life," and so we've really tried to just embrace the adventure and the journey, and
there's been a big evolution in our music. We recorded our debut album together in 2014, right before we got married. And we did another one a couple years later, and
2018 was We Call It Home. Yeah,
I think so.
Yep, it was.
And we kind of have a album for every baby. So
yes. Well, and then we were living in Vancouver. Both our boys were born at home. We were living in a tiny little condo. And 2019, we're like, even then we could sort of see with the prices of real estate, and we're living on the West Coast. We're like, this isn't really sustainable.
We're in a 600 square foot condo with 2 little boys.
So we decided to make the leap I'm like, let's go to Saskatchewan. Why don't we move to Saskatchewan? And
I was like, are you sure?
And I was like, yeah, let's do it. I'm up for the adventure. So we took our boys to Saskatchewan, and we ended up buying a house. We got a house in Regina, like right before
February 2020.
Right before the world went upside down in 2020. And we were all just like, what? We were so grateful that we at least had settled, and we had our own space and our own beautiful house. And even then we had a little studio set up. And so we were recording, that was just when I was starting to learn about recording our music and production and getting a little more into that. And so, but like Leora said, it's really been an evolution. And then we eventually decided, with everything that was going on, that just wasn't, no one wanted to meet and gather and get together. And of course, we kind of found our little pockets. We called them our prohibition play dates. We were meeting up with other homeschool families, and
what we really just came to was like we just sort of came to that decision during that time of like, we desire to experience a different version of life, and we desire for our children to still see the beauty and the joy of life. And so we said, well, we just got here, but we're gonna peace out again. We're gonna start another adventure. We took our two little boys at the time. They were 5 and 3.
Yep.
And we decided to pack up our whole life into 8 suitcases and go to Mexico and just see what that adventure. And it wasn't about really running away for us. It was just about, we just really desire
making a different choice.
Yeah. To live in a way that feels just more in alignment. So we weren't really sure what we were going to find. We didn't have too many expectations. I mean, we met a lot of people in the same boat while we were down there, kind of searching for something more. And that's when we started writing our Love in a Hurricane album. That whole album sort of came to be through the adventure, through that adventure of what do we really want? What do we want to create? What experiences are we having?
What kind of music do we want to put out into the world?
And that's where, our music has always been, like, the mandate has always been, I found, to shine light, even if we're talking about dark things, to really always reframe it in this way of like, there's some hope and there's a way to look at things, especially with the way that our music industry is now. That felt really important. And I think that just kind of clarified for us even more as we, in the last few years, just really wanting to create just conscious, empowering music. And as you know, now then next came the Mantra album, and and here we are. So
and you have a family album, a children's and family album coming out. You have a single coming out tomorrow, correct?
Amazing.
There'll be our new song, I Treasure You, which is going to be the first song on this our first official children's album. Our music's always been very family friendly, but this is going to be sort of our first official children's album. And it's this beautiful collection of, we call them keep songs. And some people may have heard of them, but essentially each song is a one-of-a-kind commissioned song for a specific person. So it started out very organically. We wrote a song
this project started a couple of years ago, really.
Yeah. And it's just grown. So we wrote a song for a friend's kid, and then they were like, their sister was like, oh, I want one for my kid. And then we started putting it out there. Well, if anybody wants a song. And then, so we got all these commissions coming in.
So it ranges from songs for babies to songs for, a beautiful girl on her 8th birthday to one family got together and got a song for their great grandma turning 99.
That's so beautiful.
Got to write it in like old Hollywood musical style. And
some of the songs we wrote while we were traveling through Mexico, one of them is written for a little girl whose family we got to know when we were in Mexico, and she very tragically passed away, drowning in a pool. And so we were so touched by that, and we attended, her ceremony, her celebration of life on the beach, and we sang this song that Leora had written, and so all these songs for us are so meaningful. But I really think that people can, there's lots of great songs out there in the world that are written with names, Eleanor Rigby, Cecilia, there's so many great songs written, for specific people in mind. And so this whole album is essentially like that. It's just so infused with love and good vibes. And like,
I basically, channeled each person and wrote a song. So even the between the songs, the styles are a little bit different, but the messages of, you're one of a kind and you're exceptional. And I mean, it's been a soundtrack to our lives for the last 2 years. Our kids know all the songs, and And I think it's just one of those things where you can put it on and you can feel good no matter what, because you can soak in the messages. And I was even contemplating that yesterday. Even if you don't have kids, no matter what age you are, you could listen to it and find value in the messages. But our single I Treasure You is the only one that isn't a specific name. So it's for everybody.
I think it's such a fantastic project. It's so beautiful. There's so many dimensions to that. I'd love to ask you folks about music as a whole and your perception of it. I remember being in a music store one day, and a man was telling me about, like, in that town in Cornwall, it borders like two provinces and I think two states, and he was saying how people from all over the world come to this music festival, and even though they don't speak English, everyone gets on the stage and jams together, and it's this universal language. And I know you've done some projects, you mentioned like Confluence and these things, and I'd love to hear your perception of just music as a whole and how important it is as our species as we are going through this awakening period.
Yeah, I mean, just the potentiating your DNA book.
Well, I mean, what music really, it's all about frequency and vibration, right? Comes down to, and so the Mantra album, we chose to record in 432 hertz. And so I don't know if people are familiar with different tunings, but standard tuning is in 440, which they standardized and they changed like, about 100 years ago or something. But 432 hertz is the frequency of Mother Earth. It's the frequency, of love in a lot of ways. And so we chose to record that Mantra album very, very consciously in 432 hertz. And part of that was kind of for our own fun too, just to experiment, because we've never done that before. So we're like, well, let's try to make an album in 432 and see how that feels. And one of the books I read, I mean, I've been, going down the rabbit holes for the last few years. I'm sure lots of people have.
I mean, you've been on this path for a long time.
And I have been on this path for a long time. And you mentioned Confluence. One of the guys that was there back in May last year was Stephen A. Young. And so he's this wonderful philosopher, scientist from Scotland. And he has this really cool book called A Fool's Wisdom. And in it, he talks about alchemy, the ancient art of alchemy. And there's a whole chapter in there that's dedicated towards audio alchemy, like sound alchemy. And so it's got this really cool chart breaking down 432 hertz and why it's such a powerful tuning, because what it does is it, not to get too technical, but it evens out. All the numbers are exact. When you tune in 440, you end up getting these little decimal points. And so it's more dissonant. Whereas if you tune in 432, it's more harmonic and it's more coherent. Yeah. And
just from a holistic perspective too, like, if you think about how good it feels just to sing together, and how when people come together and they just sing together, how everybody's hearts start to connect and our energy fields start to connect. And there's so much, I mean, it's always been there. The wisdom of the ancients have always known this, but even now there's even more science coming out about how just us creating that sound, those vibrations within our body can heal us, can regenerate our cells. Yeah. And more specifically, when you put the intention into it, right? When you put that intention of love into it, we're made of structured water, right? And we've seen those things of how you can put messages to your water and how it will look different under a microscope. Yeah. Well, why wouldn't we be any different than that, right? Yeah. And so I think that's a huge part of it. The sound, the vibration, plus the intention is very healing. So
that's a powerful combination.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that answer. I understand too. I've always tuned, for the majority of time that I've plucked around on guitars, 432, I understand it's the golden ratio, and our body is in alignment with the golden ratio. And I believe our body is just an extension of Mother Earth. So I feel like not only like are we healing one another and igniting something and that connection of love, but it's also helping heal the lands. It's also like we're all part of this larger ecosystem, and I feel like we're awakening to that. So I mean, one of my favorite songs is Frequency, and I feel like you folks really are this embodiment of this new, for lack of better words, like new earth music that is emerging. And I know there's other players out there who are feeling this call to connect people through music and this higher vision. And I just really want to say thank you for being the embodiment of that and sharing your gifts and also bringing your family into it. I feel like all the most beautiful, you know, um, businesses and endeavors of the future are going to be these harmonious expressions that include family and friends into it. Like I feel like done are the days where this like isolated view of like entrepreneurship abilities where you have to sacrifice quality of life and family and everything to make something happen. It's like I feel like that's over. Like it was never good for us. So I really appreciate you folks, being pioneers in that.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, it's not, it is a commitment that we've made, and we wouldn't do it any other way. And it's not always the most simple choice to have, but man, when your kids go, oh, could we add some vocals to this song? And everybody gets to do it together, or when they just like, they pick up an instrument and discover their love for that, and the fact that we can do it together, and we get to spend our days with them. We get to experience their aha moments and their, what they're really passionate about, and their.
It's been so cool, like, homeschooling, unschooling, and traveling with them, bringing them along for the ride, right? And they get to experience.
They're so open, like they put us out into the community, and then their human designs are like that's why they came. They came to get us out and about.
Well, they're great promoters, as are.
Yeah, for sure. No, and I'd love to ask you, because I bet there's people listening to this that are like just so inspired and probably thinking, oh, I'd love to embody more what I love and do what I love and be an example for my child, but maybe they don't know how, because they've been, I don't know, conditioned or thought to believe and think that this is the way societies work, where they do it separately and then their kids are going to school or whatever it may be. And maybe they have the intention of wanting to bring their children more into their world. What piece of advice or, offering could you give some parents who want to include their children more in their everyday lives?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that it really comes down to Melissa Sell talks. She's a beautiful GNM doctor, but she talks about always choosing the path of most peace. And I think she speaks to that for health reasons, but I think it really works well in this scenario as well. Like, it's not like we have it all figured out. It's just that once you figure out what feels the most important and the most aligned and the most valued, it doesn't mean you have to do it 110% perfectly right from day one. You just make some choices each day that just feel a little bit more in alignment. And then it's the trust factor, right? Trusting that you'll have enough to carry you through, or the right things will align for you to feel supported. And it does take, we're very lucky. Lucky's not the right word.
Well, we're very blessed
to have each other and to have made this commitment to do this together. And we don't have a huge, amount of support around here in that way, but we still do it because we love it. We trust and we feel that it's the right thing for us, and also, like, it doesn't have to look like the way we do it, right? Like, that's the thing. We are all unique expressions of this life journey, and so it's really about finding, what resonates within yourself and what resonates for you and your child and how you can connect. And I think it's so unique an experience, but just always choosing, just getting up and making that choice of like, well, what could we do today that could help us connect more? Or how could we just relax into just being together? Or maybe take a little bit of that structure where we feel pressed for time, or we have to get here or there, and that, structure can be really beautiful. And it can also be, tricky with kids, and especially multiple kids, right? That have different ways of doing things and different.
Yeah. And, when it comes to sort of the homeschooling aspect, there are other homeschool families around here where we live, and we certainly connect, and we're part of that community. But we live in this little small town where most people just send their kids to public school, and
that's fine. They have a nice little school here, and that works for people. We feel that we have these boys that love to read, and in the wintertime they will sit and they will read for a few hours at a time, and then they'll go out and play hockey for a few hours and get all their energy out. But, that kind of a thing they wouldn't be able to necessarily do at school because they'd have to stop, or it might feel like you have to do this, so they don't want to. And so there's that sort of power dynamic of like, well, if you just don't say anything and they just naturally decide they want to go through that series of books again, like, who am I to stop them? That's such a beautiful way to have an education, right? And then when they are interested in something, they go, hey, can you give me a math test, or can we do this together?
Ask for math tests. Wow.
Yeah. It's just
that's amazing.
It's just like a fun thing that we're doing together all of a sudden. And mom has to use her brain and figure out how to write the questions again. But then we also have experiences where, they bought some silver for their birthdays, or for Christmas with some Christmas money. And then lately silver's been going up. So our eldest, who's 10, has been tracking that, and he's been tracking how much he made. And well, there's your math right there, right?
Yeah.
It's
the most important math they do not teach in school.
Yeah, exactly. I wish I'd known about that. I would have probably had a little more silver at this point.
Yeah, we started tracking silver and gold when we were their ages. My good, we'd all be multimillionaires.
That's right. If we had tried that path, but it's great, and it's so we're doing it a little different, but it's organic, and they're just, I don't want to say they're ahead of the curve or anything like that. They're just, you can just see that they're just these luminous, really bright, beautiful children. Our special reading program this fall was well,
have you heard of this before? So when we were at Confluence, they had a blindfold vision.
Absolutely.
Have you guys heard of that? So
when we were living in Nelson.
Right.
Yeah, so our boys took that this
both
fall.
Of our oldest boys did that program this fall, and so they, with the blindfold on, they learned to identify colors, in front of their head, behind their head. They could read books. They could sort colors, so we're activating these.
They're playing cards.
These innate abilities are within all of us.
Yeah, and even the toddler was watching them, going, "Well, I could do that." She puts on the blindfold and do it right away.
Easy.
She didn't even need to ask. She didn't even need to go through the activation. She was like, "No, I'm good." And then it was funny because they got their little certificates at the end.
Okay.
And like, where's my certificate? Thank goodness for Canva. But no, it was a beautiful experience to do together, and just like how quickly they activated, and it just kept it fun and joyful. And
I think the one of the main things is just trying to really foster this idea of human potential, right? Because that potential lies within all of us. I believe to a degree that we can't even really fully fathom yet. When it comes to just like things like perception and healing, and there's all kinds of things. I mean, I've been interested
intuition, the way our body or the way our biology really works, and how it's just so designed so divinely, all of it, right?
We're in this time right now where it really feels like all of these, so many paradigms right now are being challenged, right? And are starting to sort of, people are like they're starting to be exposed and sort of fall away, where and it feels like this new earth is emerging, right? Like people are starting to realize that there's just so much more that we can't necessarily feel and touch and see, but it's there, right? Yeah. It's like it's underneath the surface.
I want to go back before I forget really quick to you mentioned the golden ratio, because one of my serendipitous expansions this year was to meet Danitza at Confluence, who runs the Golden Spiral School of Homeopathy in the UK. Beautiful. I'm studying with her and this amazing cohort of women. And she has developed homeopathic remedies based on sacred geometry. And her first one is the golden spiral, the golden ratio. Wow. and it's a beautiful remedy. I'll have to send you guys some in the mail.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
It's all about, alignment and bringing us back to that vibration of love, and it even structures water, which is really cool.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, that's pretty much the only medicine we've ever given Luciana is homeopathic medicine. I mean, everything is frequency, everything is energy, and I agree with you, Scott. Like, there's this call that we feel, and I feel many old souls have come to the planet at this time to help with this emergence, this awakening that's happening in our species. And I feel like the arts, especially the creativity, the music that draws people together, like it's a really beautiful time to be alive. I also feel like it's, people say, may you live to see interesting times. And that comes with some polarity to it, because it is easier to fall into the diversions and distractions than ever before. I mean, growing up, we couldn't just put on a stream show and watch, 16 seasons of a murderous thing, and so there's that available to people. But then there's also these energies available for the awakening and these great understandings that you're pointing to. And I feel like, we could probably talk for days about all the, the different aspects of these things and the different paradigms that are resurfacing. I think, to summarize it, though, I feel like everything that's not founded on the truth, and from my perspective, the truth is that the foundation of reality is this loving intelligence beyond what we can even put into words, and everything that's not founded on that is just crumbling away. So by aligning to I love my life. Boop, 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 boop. Like when we align to that, like honestly, I got to tell you this experience. After I sat and listened with your album, it was right around Christmas time. I'm playing it, and then New Year's Day happened. I shared it with Scott before we started the show. I shared it in. That was my post that I wanted to share in all these other school communities, even like the main school community schoolers. I'm like, I just want to share this album with everyone to help you for the new year. Because I know it's the fake new year. The real new year is like the springtime, right? But so many people get stressed out at this time. Like, people need to get in this frequency of loving their life. Like, that will change everything. And like, there was so much positive. I'll send you some screenshots of like people like, wow, this is so amazing music. And I just felt like what was the spur of that was I was talking with Divine Consciousness one night, and it woke me up with that song in the morning. It was just in my mind. Like I woke up and it was playing in the background of my mind. So
your music has a way of doing that.
Yeah, it does. So I just want to say, like, there's power in what you're doing. Like, and I feel like we don't talk about maybe power enough. We associate power with like, leadership or hierarchies or things, but there's power in your expression. So I acknowledge that in you for being these conduits of that loving power. It's so potent. So appreciate that.
Thank you. I mean, it feels, I never would have thought I would say that, just being in a committed, conscious relationship would be so revolutionary, but
making babies
and making conscious music. But it really does these days kind of feel like it's some of the most important work that's needed on earth right now. It's just like
it does feel powerful.
It does.
It feels it just feels in full alignment with our vital force and with our purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just can't wait.
Even though sometimes it's like, oh
yeah, well, like, we're still human, we're still spiritual beings.
Yeah.
Having
our ups and downs
in these bodies, having this physical experience, but we are all connected in through the greater consciousness of that is love, right? It's like, and I mean, I've been learning about that so much. Like, one of my favorite authors these days too has been Mark Gober. I'm not sure if you're familiar with his work at all, but he was also at Confluence, and he's got this whole series of 7 books, but the first one is called An End to Upside Down Thinking. And in it, he explores the nature of consciousness and this idea, because, we've been told we live in this materialistic world, but they say, oh, the consciousness comes from the brain, but they've never been able to prove that or figure that out. And we are all, he gives the analogy that we are all in the same river of consciousness, but we are each our own unique whirlpool within that big river of consciousness, right? So, and the book's incredible if you want to read.
I'm going to have to read that, because people often are confused. They ask me all the time, what's up? And I have to remind them it's the opposite of down and perpendicular sideways. So I have to read that book.
Yeah, I think you do. Yeah.
What is the book called?
An End to Upside Down Thinking
Okay.
by Mark Gober.
Maybe I'll include a link in the description as well in case anyone listening wants to check it out.
Absolutely. I can, yeah, for sure.
Scotty's got a pile of books he's
Yeah.
The latest, like, I mean,
He's a
the
book lover
latest
too.
one, coming back to frequency and vibration, the latest one that I'm currently digesting and getting into, it's a book by Saul Luckman called Potentiate Your DNA. And in it, he talks about the power of sound, right? The power that sound can carry. And specifically harmonic, coherent sound, right? And so, and I'm learning how to do this technique that he calls potentiation, where you use a 528 hertz tuning fork. Essentially
in the solfeggio frequencies, and it's for like DNA repair.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially you use this frequency and specific vowel sounds to activate your in the realm of science and DNA, they say that like 90% of our DNA is junk, right? If you like, that's how what they've been talking about, which is total junk. So he reframes it and says, actually, that junk DNA is potential DNA. And if we can activate it in the right way through sound, through music, through intention, it can unleash all kinds of healing and expansion, and that's within all of us, right? That potential is there within all of us. And so I'm feeling like I'm just loving this book, and I'm learning how to do this potentiation technique.
Although we're realizing it's very possible we've potentiated ourselves with all of this conscious music over the last
well,
all those vowels are in there, and all that intention is in there.
Absolutely.
And I'm kind of de-aging a little bit.
We're not meant to grow older, right? It's all about intention. And when you say the word activation, like that just activates inside of me, and it reminds me why we're all here. And I love that we all came here with a unique voice, and part of that process is the forgetting process temporarily. But for the longest time I questioned my purpose in life, and during a quarter life crisis I kind of like had this deep awakening experience, and it was all there. Like I knew during that moment, there was no doubt, there was no mistaken that I came here to awaken, and I'm in the process of awakening in every present moment. But through that, I'm also serving, because through my own awakening, I'm also inspiring others to awaken as well. And that looks different for all of us. Like you said, Leora, we're all unique beings, but we're not meant to do the work for other people. So the best thing that we can do is shine our own unique light. And that's what's cool about that, is for all of us, it's different. We're not all meant to be the same. For you guys, it's singing and sharing your love in that way. For me, what lights me up is dancing. I have a background in professional Latin dancing, but when I learned to actually just let go and move how my body wants to move, and connecting to my breath and aligning in that way, connecting to conscious music and sound, to my breath and my body, like the amount of healing that I've experienced in those moments is just like, I can't keep this for myself. I want to share this with others, and I'm not going to tell them how to move. I'm going to, inspire them to also move in their own, loving way. And for you, it's also, what is it for you, Nathaniel?
That's a big question. I haven't figured that one out yet. I say I'm part artist, I'm part cosmedian, and a few people have called me a mystic. So who the heck knows? Who the heavens knows?
But we can feel it. So maybe it doesn't need
I love laughing. I love laughing, and I just love all expressions. Actually, I'm interested in everything. I heard Wayne Dyer say that. I actually find everything interesting, and that's one of my challenges.
And I just wanted to add one more thing. I think the biggest awakening for me has been this journey into motherhood. I mean, even before Luciana was born into this lifetime, the amount of awakenings I had during my first pregnancy, they cannot be put into words. The remembrances I had of being in my own mother's womb and feeling all that she was feeling, connecting with her soul before she even came into body form. And it's just like, it's such a special time where we're so close to the spiritual world, and these little souls choose us and we choose them. None of it is random, and they come in here to be our greatest teachers. I mean, the amount that we learn through, about our bodies and our soul families through this process of surrendering. You're a pro, Leora. You're on your fourth home birth. For me, it was my first, and I didn't know anyone in my close, circle circle of friends or family who had had a home birth, but I knew that I needed to home birth this baby, however that was going to look. And the biggest part of that was the inner work that I had to do of setting boundaries and setting intentions of how we wanted that to look like, even though maybe it wouldn't go exactly that way. But I just remember being inspired by Louise Hay and having a whole twinkle lights on my bedroom wall of birth affirmations. And it was a total surprise how the birth went, but I just trusted. And I think that's the biggest thing in birth, is trusting that your bodies carry the wisdom and divine intelligence of knowing what it needs to do. And all we need to do is get the heck out of our own way, and listen and allow and surrender. And, I just want to say, ever since she's come into our lives, it'll be 2 years on Sunday. This Sunday, she's going to turn 2 years young. And the amount of awakenings we've had throughout those, 2 years of life, and the amount that she's been teaching us and showing us, and been our mirror of also what's inside of us still to be healed. And this journey it's been so incredible. That's been my biggest awakening, is knowing that the work that we're doing and the shadows that we're going into is for our children and our children's children, to create this new earth for them, because they deserve it. We all deserve it.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you about this, because we've talked a lot on the show with other like conscious parents and educators and stuff. And Julia said children are our greatest teachers. I've also heard, and I really resonate with this, that children are our greatest leaders. What do you folks think about that statement? And what does that evoke in you?
Yeah, I mean, it's as becoming a parent is one of the most profound experiences that I believe like human beings can experience, for sure. And sometimes I feel like you do sort of, the challenge these days, I think, is that there are so many layers. There's so many layers that get put on parents of expectations of how you're supposed to do things. And, I don't know, for me, and maybe it's different for you, but it's like, especially as a homeschool parent, as an unschooling parent, it's like you do have to sort of step out of the way and let them lead to a certain degree.
It's called self-led learning.
Self-led learning, right? It's like you want them to be interested in the things that light them up, that fire them, that get their passions, that they're passionate about. And
I think it's multifaceted, because I think that I don't think that those two words for me describe like a more hierarchical experience. And I don't think that's really the parent-child relationship. I think that it's so important for the parents to, it's not lead, but it's to hold this space of groundedness, right? To hold the space for them of, birth is such a huge experience, but how about life after birth? How about all those days afterwards where they're going through their little things that they're going through and their bodies are going through, and to hold that space of everything's cool. We'll work this out together. We're going to do this together. And so, when we get into those places of, I'm going to be the leader in this situation or whatever, and then you get these power struggles, I think that's where, we're not perfect by any means, but I think it's really more of a co-creative experience, but it's important for the parents to create that space of
being grounded.
This is what, this is the baseline here of trust and love and communication and all the different things. So for sure, I think that they often lead us, in certain directions, or they have very strong opinions about something that affect, the whole family. It's, there's 5 people in our family with 5 very unique, ideas of how a day might go, or how a life might go, or what we might have for dinner, or whatever. I mean, they're pretty cool about all that stuff. And they're very easygoing, but for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure even if that language resonates with me exactly.
Well, but I mean, in some ways too, though, like sort of bringing it back to the beautiful thing about children is that, especially, in my experience, the homeschool kids, is that they haven't had some of those layers piled on top of them yet.
Right.
And so when we did this blindfold vision course, this last year, they were able to activate those abilities so quickly, and it's so inspiring to see them do that. You're like, holy smokes, like how are you're blindfolded right now.
It was hard for our eldest, and I sort of knew that was going to be the case because he's so intellectually smart. He's read all these books. He's finished, he's finished series upon series that you would never even expect a 10-year-old.
It was challenging for him, and yet he
still did it.
He still got there. Like it was just he just had to do it in his own way. Like he had his own path. He was watching his younger brother do it so quickly, and he was, kind of getting frustrated and feeling down on himself. And it's like, dude, it's okay. Like, it'll happen for you when it's in its own way. Like, it's not going to look like the way he does it. It's going to look like the way it's meant for you. Right.
And honestly, that's the hardest thing for a parent, right? Because this is where I think the parent job really comes in, is like, okay, how do we stay super neutral in this situation and let them walk through all these big feelings and not go, well, this is the way I would fix it, or this is the way I would do this. All of our children are in human design, the 4-6 profile, which is, we don't need to get into it, but it's similar to the way their dad learned when he learns, which when they're kids is like they have to do by making mistakes and experiencing the thing that doesn't work, which is different from the way I would do it. So my instinct is be like, oh, don't do it that way. Here, I'll show you like the more efficient way, but they won't take it in. They have to spill the thing all over and go, oh, that's not how I do that. And do it properly like 6 times and then they're good. Right. And so I think, there's value in all of the different ways in which we can
support their evolution, their learning, the way they learn.
Yeah. And also like things like human design or astrology, and go, oh, so this is the way, this is the lens in which you see this, or this is the way that certain parts of you are activated in different ways than maybe mine, and it's like a matrix, right? It's so profound when you have your first baby, and it's like, holy crap, and everything changes in your world, and then you have another one, and it's not double. It's like exponential, because you have this web, this like matrix that forms between the new baby and their sibling and you, and the love just keeps going like outwards, and it becomes this. Yeah, it's pretty phenomenal. Pretty remarkable.
Wow, that's beautiful.
I like the way you put that.
Yeah. No, I really appreciate, I think the whole teacher leader thing, I really hear what you're saying, Leora, because to me, I think it from the lens like of a more general perspective, like looking at children as a whole and how they keep their hearts open, they are emotionally vulnerable, they keep persisting on things that they don't know. I think in that way they teach us. And whereas a lot of grownups, we become degraded based on our beliefs over time. But when you have parents like yourself that are awakening, that are actively involved in your own journey and are living in your purpose, I can see how that doesn't resonate, because it's like, no, we're co-creating because we're also awakening. And I feel like there's an inherent understanding that these are spiritual partners, not little things that we're supposed to control and own, whereas that is kind of more of a mainstream perception. So no, I really appreciate both of your perspectives on that.
Yeah, and I will add too, thank you. I will add too, like, it's not like they don't desire some kind of guidance. They often check in with us. They want to have us as these sort of grounding points. And it doesn't necessarily mean they get to do. We're not the people who are like, you can do whatever you want.
Sure.
Like
that's chaos. That is not parenting.
It can be absolutely, it can be for sure.
Yeah.
So we try to find a balance, but
these days too with the screens, it is a challenge sometimes. Like we sort of you have to you do your best, and you have to do it in a way that works for you. But as our kids are getting older, our boys are 8 and 10, like it's interesting to sort of see trying to navigate that and trying to navigate this digital world.
But the open conversations are so key. Like they'll come back from outside and they'll be like, oh, our friend was kind of in a funny mood today. I think he was playing too many of that specific video game. And they put 2 and 2 in their head. Right? And so it's better if it comes from them, right? And their observation and their perception, as opposed to, oh, we better restrict this. Anytime you restrict something, of course, your child's going to go, well, that's the thing I want,
Exactly.
Sure. that's how I work.
Yeah, totally.
I must have it.
You know, but yeah, so there is a balance there. It's making me think of that. Is it Gabor Mate, or did he just do the introduction to that book, sort of parents over peers, you know, and just how important really it is to have, you know, like just
keep
that.
your children close, I think.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah.
Did you read that?
I haven't read that one, but I think Gabor Mate is you know, he's a very important voice in our time, and it all comes down to, like you said, open conversations. It comes down to being truthful and open, and I feel like, you know, we're emerging out of a time where, you know, if we look just like at our systems, like profits have been made on things that are out of alignment. Like people make profits when people are unwell instead of when they're well. Like when there's conflict, it's opportunities. And I feel like part of the challenge of conscious parenting in these times is we're still in an in-between time as we're transitioning into the Aquarian age, into a time of more harmonious, luxuriant way of interacting with our earth. We are bridging that gap. So there is the screens with the, you know, those games that are sucking consciousness, and yet there are things like school. I'm worried this was a Christmas gift from Julia, because I feel like school is a place of true community, and I want to share this more with you folks, because I feel like there's these gatherings that are happening in ways that, like, there is this new consciousness emerging, but we, even like as you're talking, you know, openly with your children, I feel like the more conscious parents that create this artwork of, like, instead of just a network, but really like speak openly about our challenges and the things we're going through and some of the visions and opportunities we're seeing, we're creating that interconnection that is going to allow that heart of Mother Earth to you know, to open more effectively as we build those conscious bridges between one another.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been, you know, like I said, we get together here locally with lots of, you know, other conscious families and homeschool families, and you know, it's beautiful to see, but it's you know, it is challenging right now, because it is sort of this like new, we're trying to figure out the way forward, right? I mean, that's a big part of the confluence, you know, this confluence gathering. I mean, it was over, when we were there in May in Texas on this ranch called Sovereignty Ranch, there was over 100 kids there. It was like beautiful. 750 people at this gathering, just people from all over, different walks of life, all over the world, and 100 kids. I mean, there was this little village of children, and I mean, it was just beautiful to witness, and them all just sort of in their natural environment and being creative and playing together.
Yeah, and really nothing beats in-person connection, right? Yeah. Like, it's beautiful to have these different online communities and situations. We have been involved in a few of the different school groups.
Yeah.
And it always still for me comes back to, you know, when can we be together?
Yeah, that's what it's all about.
I'm grateful for the technology. Like, I wouldn't be able to be in, you know, I wouldn't be able to be studying homeopathy right now if I didn't. But I did fly to the UK in December, and that was pretty magical to be part of that.
I think it's just about finding a balance, right? It's like trying to find a way forward that feels sort of in line with, you know, the values and your priorities, and just finding that balance, because I think there's a way to use, you know, to the technology that is emerging right now, is, you know, especially things like AI and stuff. Like, I've been a little reluctant to sort of go down that path myself, but
I've been very resistant. That's hard.
But I'm not sure how you guys feel about sort of the emergence of, with the sort of the AI coming along and stuff. Maybe you've had conversations with people.
Lots, you know, actually, on the show specifically. Yeah.
I think I was looking at some of the episodes, and I was like, oh, that might be an interesting one to listen to. But you know, I think again, there's just a way of trying to find a balance, you know, where we can use it for ways that are beneficial, but it doesn't have to take over our entire lives. You know, it's not, because we're still human. Like, we still need these connections. We still need to be together. We need to hug each other. We need to you know, like, we need those things.
Yeah. I'm all just like pro use our own intuition and our own creative power over here. It doesn't, I don't know. For me, it's not about, oh, how fast can I scale this business? It's about how can I actually reach people's hearts, you know, and how, in a way that's going to stick, in a way that's going to feel right.
Hopefully our music can do that. I mean, that's our intention
organically
through our music, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of that, where can people find your music or purchase your music?
Well, the best place, I mean, everything's on our website. Just our name, winsomekind.com. Of course, we're on all the other, social platforms and all the places, and the best place to buy it would be on Bandcamp, which again is through our website there, but that's the best place to like purchase our music digitally. But otherwise,
yeah, we could share that link as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to ask, how did you choose the name Winsome Kind? I wanted to ask at the beginning, but we kind of passed that.
Yeah, so winsome is an old word.
It's this old English word with all these beautiful connotations, like alluring and charming and
charismatic, but more kind of in like it kind of the word sort of retains a certain amount of innocence. It was funny because when we went to Nova Scotia and we stayed with these people, they were both English like scholars.
We're trying to come up
huge library.
Yeah.
And Winsome had come up and the fellow was like, no, that's not you guys.
That's not like, oh.
And the wife, she quietly goes into the library and comes back with a thesaurus and hands it to him. And a couple minutes later, he's like, yep.
That's you. He starts reading all out of the thesaurus. Yeah, that's you guys. And I just love we came up with, Winsome Kind because kind itself kind of has like a double meaning of like being kind or like
this kind of people,
like humankind or you know what I mean. So and it just stuck. I don't know, as soon as like it was one of those ones we were trying to brainstorm a name, and I think your mom was sort of helping us come up with some ideas.
Yeah, she loves brainstorming.
And we were on the train traveling and making music, and we sort of stumbled upon that name, Winsome Kind,
and then the dragonfly stuck too. This is actually our logo. And it was designed by a tattoo artist, and it has the Winsome Kind in the wings. And we just kept it because the dragonfly, with the transformation and the totem of all everything that she represents is pretty powerful. So, yeah.
It sounds like a calling to me. Like when I hear it, it's like, because the words that are in there are there's 3 words in there. And so for someone who doesn't know what winsome means, let's like winsome. And it reminds us to be kind and that we are part of this larger species called humankind, and I feel like it just connects us to being that. Because I feel like we've been told all this erroneous messaging about we're bad for this planet, we're all this stuff. There's all these extinctionist kind of baloney. And a lot of people have been fed this, especially through the educational institutions that aren't really educational at all, but are impositional. And I feel like there's a lot of unlearning that people have to go, especially like generation, Z and X and the millennials. Like I feel like there's this return to the goodness, recognizing the goodness that is within all of us, and that we are a beautiful species, especially when we are in alignment with who we really are and why we're here.
Coming back to love, right? Like coming back to love and remembering that love is at the core of consciousness. I really believe that. And there's all these ways that they try to get us, push us off of that and get us out of alignment. And
that's why I've stopped watching TV.
Yeah, Stu, we don't watch TV. And maybe we'll win some of those with kindness as well. The theys will become we's and we'll all go wee.
You really, what we notice is that people either really gravitate to it or they just kind of like, they're just not quite there yet. As in, it's just like so out of sort of their natural, like what's being programmed through them. It's like, it almost just vibrates at a different, and that's okay. People will come to it in their own time. Yeah. But it's been a fascinating journey for sure of like, you're not really sure who's going to connect with the music until you get these messages coming in. Like our song Sing Me Home, was it was a single that we put out before Love in a Hurricane, and kind of our first go at really like a medicine song. And it's been at so many births, and we've had some like beautiful messages of people playing it also for, transitioning their loved ones off of this plane as well. And it's, getting that kind of feedback is so potent.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a journey for sure. Like when we left for Mexico in 2021, we didn't really know what to expect. I think a lot of people didn't, but it's been, I'm so grateful for all of it, for all the experiences along the way and the people we've met, including, you guys. And yeah,
we've learned some pretty devastating hard lessons too. That's part of the journey.
Yeah.
But we're still here and we're still doing it together, and we're, I think more resolved than ever just to stay on this path and
keep leading the way with love.
Yeah.
That's so inspiring a lot of others to do the same, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Do you want to ask the megaphone question?
Yeah. So we love asking our guests, if you had a megaphone and you could talk to the whole world all at once and everyone could hear you, what would you say?
I'd probably just sing one of our mantras.
Which one, Leora?
I love you. You're beautiful. You're a miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because that's the one that I had, that came through while my baby daughter was in the womb, and would sing that. And then, and I really just picture everybody in the world just singing it to themselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to really go over a megaphone with my voice, but as long as everyone just sings it to the mirror, I think we'd all that's why I almost labeled it. Sing this one to yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
It's great instruction.
It's that old adage, right? Of like, you have to change starts within, right? We all have to try to embody that for it to resonate outward and for other people to feel that. So
true.
Yeah. I mean,
would you say something different through the megaphone?
I'd probably sing Ola Ola.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite. So welcoming the new era.
Yeah.
or frequency perhaps, but yeah.
I love that. Well, they both would sing. We know that.
Sing it.
That's beautiful.
Sing it.
Possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you folks have anything else you'd like to share before we welcome our daughter Luciana to say thanks for watching?
I don't know. We've covered a lot. I feel good.
I feel great.
I'm so excited for this children's album, these Keep songs to get out there. They're just so.
They're coming out February 17th.
February 17th
on the real New Year.
Well,
Yeah.
it's the start of the Chinese New Year on the 17th. This new
single tomorrow.
The single comes out on the 30th, Jack, tomorrow. Yeah. Okay. And then the whole album will be out on the 17th next month.
Amazing.
We wanted to put it out before the baby arrives.
Yeah, that's so beautiful.
Well, best of luck with that too. I know you guys are going to be amazing, and I know
you're helping any way we can.
Yeah, I know your little ones are so welcome to invite this new soul, this new little one into the world, that they can hold hands and share all their passions with them as well. And yeah, to everyone listening, we invite you to spend some time with Leora and Scott's music and just let it move through your bodies and maybe your cars or your home, and see what it awakens in you, see what light it shines in you, and what it moves for you. Thank you to our audience for being here. Thank you, Nathaniel, for all your incredible questions.
Welcome.
And for listening, and for everyone who continues to choose connection, co-creation, and community, which is the values we're all about. So yeah, let's invite our little one. It's just a little outro video, so we'll go ahead and do that now.
Beautiful. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, folks.
Much love.
Thanks for watching. You say ciao ciao.
Bye.
I love you so much.